Greetings, everybody. Chef Adam Graham, author of The Complete Idiot's Guide to Raw Food Detox and creator of the Live Food Experience, here with Be Well TV to share with you a delicious plant-based raw recipe. Today's recipe is cashew cheese, and this recipe features 1 cup of raw cashews soaked in a half cup of water. We're also going to have a 1/4 cup of water on standby, but I actually added it, so in essence the recipe has a total of 3/4 cup of water. Half of those cup is soaking in the cashews, and the other is on standby to pour into the blender. There's going to be a clove of garlic, 2 tablespoons lemon juice. We're using nutritional yeast and some white miso. You could also use a sweet miso or a mellow miso. There's also the chickpea variety and a little bit of salt, and we'll add that at the end after we've tasted the recipe and get the final adjustments down. So this recipe is being done in a high-powered blender. You could do this at home in a conventional blender, but the challenge is going to be getting it to blend nice and smooth. Now the trick to doing that is to pre-soak the cashews. Pre-soaking the cashews at least 6 hours will actually get you a nice soft cashew. And I soak this in filtered water, and I use the water that I soak them in. So in this recipe, I'm using the soak water. In some other recipes, I rinse. I might soak walnuts and then rinse them, and I don't use the soak water. But in this recipe, we're using the soak water. I'm going to pour this into the blender, and this is both the combination of the half cup, which the cashews were soaking in, and then the extra 1/4 cup. So there's a total of 3/4 cup of water in here with the cashews. And we put that in there. We want to get everybody in there. Now, there is a difference between the raw cashews and the roasted cashews. You're going to get a completely different flavor if you switch them out. It's still going to be enjoyable either way. The raw cashews are going to be a little creamier and sweeter, where the roasted are going to have more of that roasted flavor. Also be aware that cashews are sometimes pre-salted. You don't want salt on your cashews. I'm going to drop some lemon juice in here. This is fresh squeezed lemon juice, and it's about 2 tablespoons. That's going to give us our sour note, along with a clove of garlic. So I got the garlic ready to go. Cut the end off. I put it on the cutting board and crush it. And so if you're using like minced garlic, you would use probably no more than, well, 2 teaspoons. Can you put too much garlic in a recipe? Some may argue yes. As long as everybody else is eating it, then it's fine. You can, this recipe will be fine with 1 clove of garlic. Sometimes people like it super garlicky, so they'll put 2 cloves in. I'm going to throw this in the blender. This is a Vitamix blender, high powered, and I should have no trouble blending up the garlic. Now, if you have a traditional, just regular commercial blender, you will probably want to chop it up, mince it up, so it blends nice and smooth and consistently. I also have prepped out here and ready to go my miso paste. This is nutritional yeast, and I have my salt all measured and ready to go. We're going to slide that. I'm going to drop the miso in. I'm going to hold off on the salt until very last. We'll get a taste, because depending on how you're going to use this recipe, you will want to adjust the salt accordingly. This is a recipe that I use with my raw zucchini lasagna, and it would be one of the layers. Depending on how salty the other ingredients or other elements in there are. That recipe, I use marinara. I make a marinara, and then I also make a walnut crumble. So in this recipe, what we're going to probably do with this is go on and use this as like a dressing or a dip. All right, so everything's in the blender, and make sure it's on the lowest setting, and away we go. You may have noticed that I turn on the blender on the lowest setting and then I slowly ramp it up. That is to prevent what's in the blender from splashing up and maybe getting up on the sides of the blender. If that were to happen, no big deal. I just use a spatula and I scrape down the sides and then continue blending. Now, a recipe like this, you can transfer to maybe a bowl, or if you're using it as a dip. I also like to put it into a squirt bottle, and you want to get the recipe, if you're using a squirt bottle, you want the recipe to be loose enough to where you can pour it into the squirt bottle, and I believe I've achieved that, and I'm able to transfer from the blender to the squirt bottle. Now if the recipe is too thick and you can't do this, then add a little bit more water, and that allows you to get that smoother consistency. Of course, you want to taste it along the way, which I haven't actually done. So let's see if let's see if this is savory enough. Ooh. Okay, I'm tasting a little bit of everything in there. The lemon juice has a nice profile. The saltiness that I got from the miso paste, a little bit of the salt dropped in there. I'm going to actually add the rest of the salt. And the nutritional yeast comes across. Now, the nutritional yeast is optional. It adds its own unique little profile. And I've made cheeses in the past without the nutritional yeast. The cashews, the miso, the lemon juice, all of those are really great on their own. So if you don't have nutritional yeast, you can still make this recipe and it'll still be amazing. Now I get it in the squirt bottle, and it just becomes a little more easy to work with. You can fill stuffed peppers with it. You can squirt it on as a salad dressing. You can use it to decorate other recipe items, other menu items that you've created. So that is the easy, delicious, plant-based, raw cashew cheese from Chef Adam and Be Well TV. Please enjoy other videos from Be Well TV, and come visit me over at livefoodexperience.com, where I run all kinds of fun events, do classes, streaming, and coaching. I hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next video. Keep it live.